Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am very happy to see all of you here. Let's let those who came just now grab their seats. My name is Erez Romas. I'm COO of Finance Magnates, and I'm personally very excited to host our first event in our home base after over 5 years of holding events all over the world: London, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Cyprus, Istanbul. We have decided that the time has come for us to hold an event here in Tel Aviv because we are, as you all know, an amazing country with amazing people, with amazing companies, and we definitely think that there's room to have one of our events here in our home base. We've prepared an amazing agenda for you. I personally urge all of you to be here to listen to some of the panels and some of the master's classes that we have prepared for you. Let me just say before I start, I said it earlier, throughout the day we have simultaneous translation, meaning if you grab an earphone outside and the panel is in English, you will hear Hebrew. If the panel is in Hebrew, you will hear English. So feel free, whatever, and make yourself comfortable. We're going to start with our first panel of the day, the FinTech panel, moderated by Michael Pearl, our very own head of BI department. He's going to introduce himself, he's going to say a few words about the panel, and then he's going to let the panelists introduce themselves. I hope we have an amazing day. Enjoy.
Thank you, Erez. Welcome, everybody. I'm very excited to be here. So as Erez mentioned, my name is Michael Pearl. I'm the head of the intelligence unit, intelligence department at Finance Magnates. Prior to that, I was a journalist at Kalkalist newspaper. I was working there at the foreign desk. That's more or less about me. So we're going to be discussing FinTech, and it's a very popular buzzword. Many people use it all the time, but I'm imagining that if I'll ask the crowd here, the audience here, question, what is FinTech? I'm going to get a very different answers from everybody. So basically, FinTech is a technology, it's a segment of the startup scene that focuses on finance, whether it's in the field of loans, payments, money transfer, and etc. You're going to hear some examples here. So we'll move on to the panel, and I want to allow our panel members, our distinguished panel members, a chance to introduce themselves. So guys, take 1 or 2 minutes. Let's start with Dorel.
Hi, good morning everybody, and thank you for inviting me. So my name is Dorel Blitz, I'm the head of FinTech at KPMG, and I'm sure you know what is KPMG. Before joining KPMG, I think it was like until 8 months ago, I was the head of FinTech and innovation at Bank Leumi, which is the second largest bank in Israel. And before that, I came from the consultancy side, the BCG McKinsey guys of the world. I'm dealing with FinTech for the last, I think, almost 7-8 years. And at KPMG, we are doing a lot of things with FinTech. We are the only one out of the big four in the world that actually investing directly in FinTech companies and data analytics all over the world. We have a $300 million VC fund of KPMG, also looking on some Israeli relevant ones. We are also working extremely close with the FinTech industry here in Israel. I don't know if you know that, guys, but Israel is the third largest FinTech market in the world. Actually, this is the FinTech week right now in Israel. Yesterday was the annual FinTech conference of KPMG and Bank Leumi and Kalkalist and all the others. And a week ago was the former demo day of Barclays, FinTech Accelerator in Israel. 8 out of the 10 companies actually went into a POCs with Barclays. Rizor is here. Hey, Rizor. And Bank Leumi just launched, I think it was also a week ago, a big FinTech survey and report about Israel and the global landscape. And today, this evening, is the launch of the Floor, which is a big four global banks FinTech hub here in Tel Aviv. HSBC, Santander, RBS, Intesa Sanpaolo, and KPMG.
I'm going to give you some time to explain about it later, right, because it is an interesting issue. So,
thank you.
We'll move on to Yoni.
Hi, so I'm Yoni Heffels, and I'm leading FinTech in Israel for Facebook. I'm super happy also to be here today, and what we do, we actually serve as a platform for FinTech advertisers, companies, and the ecosystem here in Israel, which is expanding globally. And what we see is we do see a lot of similar and different challenges and opportunity, specifically for the Israeli market. And happy to discuss this here today. My background is in sales and marketing and startups, as well as technology and finance. And we'll be happy to elaborate on the possibilities to scale further and increase using the democratization of marketing and internet and lower entry barriers into the market further on today.
Thank you, Yoni.
Hey, good morning. My name is Ron. I run Authentics. We are a hardcore image processing company. We deal with document authentication for customer onboarding. Most of our customers are not in Israel. We do the onboarding for PayPal, Google, TransferWise, Payoneer. I mean, almost any vertical that needs to do KYC. If it's in, again, payments, wallet, Forex, remittances, lending, etc. It's an interesting period, what's been going on in Israel and also around the world, especially when it comes to the Brexit. More than half of our customers are European-based. We have some customers also in the US and in Australia. So I would say it's going to be an interesting panel today.
Great. We're going to talk about the Brexit in a second.
Good morning. My name is Lior Nabat. I'm the founder and CEO of Tradency. 11 years old, technology company, B2B, started in 2005 when the word FinTech, nobody even understand what I'm talking about. And when I tried to raise money, was not so good buzzword to work with. Today, FinTech is very nice, big buzzword. Tradency is in the B2B. We're building platform. Actually, we have two main businesses. One in the FX CFD market, and probably some of you see what we're doing in MirrorTrader. And actually, we are the founders of MirrorTrader and all this concept, and also Roblox. And the second one is more towards long-term investment, digital digital infrastructure distribution. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. Sharon?
Hi, my name is Sharon Cohen. Boker Tov. I'm the head of digital transformation at HP Enterprise. We're dealing with digital transformation for the last year, since this is HPE new strategy declared by Meg Whitman, our CEO. And so we're very involved with startups, with FinTech, and we focus on our main portfolio that deals with hybrid IT, big data, security, IoT, and mobility. So I'm happy to be here. Prior to HPE, I was for a year a mentor for startups, mentoring mainly about their go-to-market strategy. And before that, I was establishing and managing the Israeli National Clearinghouse, Swiftness, which connects all the banks and all the insurance companies and agencies according to the Israeli legislation. With the finance market for more than 15 years, and really happy to be here.
Thank you, Sharon. So before we move on to the first question, I would just like to say that you will have a chance to ask our panel members some questions. In the end, we'll allocate time for that. If somebody feels that he has to ask a question, then please do, but try not to. Okay, so as Darrell mentioned, Israel is in the third place, right? In terms of being a fintech center, a global fintech center. And in the KPMG top 100 list of fintech companies, Israel has a representation of 8 companies, right, if I'm not mistaken? And you know, we have Barclays and Citibank and recently Visa Europe that established innovation labs here and accelerators, incubators, whatever you want to call it. However, some people, and even here I heard some people say, you know, Israel isn't really a fintech global center, a global fintech center. Some people doubt that. So let's start with Sharon. What do you think, Sharon? The question is for the entire panel, and we'll just go with the order of sitting, what do you think? Is Israel a global fintech center?
Yes, we believe that Israel is a global fintech center, having more than 400 startup fintech companies. You'd already counted, right? We see a lot of activity, a lot of interest worldwide in the Israeli fintech scene. Actually, next week, and our EMEA FSI lead, Financial Services Industry lead, is coming to Israel in purpose to meet and to collaborate with Israeli fintechs, and is going to see many fintechs. And what we are looking for is for partnership, both for startups and fintechs that use our technology. And this is the unit that Yariv Shapira, that sit here in the audience, leads. But not only that, we're looking for partnerships in order to find fintech company with promising offering that we can propose to our customers worldwide. And we have, of course, the most prestigious and the largest FSI customers around the world. So we're getting asked many times about fintech and about companies and getting recommendations. And we believe that it shows that there is a lot of interest in the local scene.
Thank you. Leo?
I think that the situation of fintech is not different than other industries. Actually, we are very good on innovation and bring new ideas. But I think I'm agree with some what you said, because you don't see a lot of technology in big banks in high scale. So if you go around the world, okay, coming from Israel, so we're very good on creating new technologies, go to market, but there's not a lot of fintech company that's serving 50, 60, 100 million users that can be very established one. But we are there. We're going there.
Thank you. Ron?
So, like fintech it's an interesting, everybody looks at it as a one part, but actually you need to look at it two segments. You have the enablers and you have the operators. So the enablers is like companies like us, companies like Riskified or Forter, and then you have the operators. So like Payoneer or eToro. Unfortunately, on the operator side, there's not a lot of stuff going on in Israel, unfortunately. Not because people don't want to do that, because you have regulators who are not making it easy because they're protecting the industry here. To tell you if it's a smart move or not, future will tell. I don't think it's a smart move. They're just protecting their friends with no interest.
Can you give one example of the interference of the regulator in the fintech scene in Israel?
Well, I can tell you as an example. I look at my customers. So you look at TransferWise or you look at Moniz. So these are companies that are based in the UK, and both of them have a back office operation in Estonia, or Small Financial Services that have a back office in Madrid. Such, I call it a two-headed company, is not able to exist because the regulation here is not as lean and mean on a positive way like you have in Europe. And the regulators they don't see. They don't foresee the future, and since you have very weak politicians, when the Prime Minister of the UK, together with his Treasurer, said, "Listen, we're going to change the industry in the UK, and we're going to move London to be the fintech hub of the world." And London, by the way, is the fintech hub of the world. Not Israel, not San Francisco, not New York. London is the hub. So you see what happened, and when the regulator is yes, no, step aside, you serve your people, you don't make the decision. If I decided to make such a move, and unfortunately you don't see that in Israel. On the enabling side, there are many companies and it's an amazing market, but unfortunately there could be much more consumer-oriented companies, like as I said, one of them is Payoneer or Tipalti or eToro, but they're not, and I think that's one of the I would say one of the things that Israel is missing here, being able, because of regulation issues, to building here more operational platforms other than enabling.
Thank you, Ron. Yoni?
So, from my perspective, and I can actually see really the global activity, from where I'm standing. And it definitely looks like we are there. And I'm also joining the numbers here of the number of startups and fintech companies that are in Israel. But more importantly than that, if we consider the fact that Israel was never a financial hub, right? But today it is a fintech hub. And when we look about recent rounds, right, of funding, if we look about...
Yoni, could you speak up, please?
Yeah. And... Or like that? And if we talk about companies like Bluevine or Behalf, who have raised $130 million, or companies such as eToro, Payoneer, they are actually leveraging on the fact that the world is changing, right? Because the entry barriers today are much lower. And Israelis are very, very good in taking advantage of that fact. So we're very strong in technology, so we're leveraging it on finance. We are very strong on leveraging that information in order to get to the end users using all of the other platforms. And this is allowing a lot of activity and a lot of growth from a local market that is going internationally. So Payoneer's customer base, right, is not in Israel. And unlike companies or fintech companies that are based in Europe that are focused on their local market, Israelis don't have this opportunity. So consumer-based startups and fintech companies don't have any other chance than to go global and go real global. And then the customer base is the entire Europe or is inside the United States. And then they have the possibility to really grow big and become real and big companies representing this industry.
Thank you, Yoni. And last but not least, Dorel.
Well, I don't think this is the question if Israel is a good fintech hub or not, even though personally think that, we have like almost 500 fintech companies here in Israel. And this is an amazing perfect storm right now because the world is actually moving from disruption towards like collaboration and co-creation. We are seeing that all over the world. I'm meeting with financial institutions coming into Israel all the time. It's really amazing, not just banks. I'm talking about insurance companies, the big ones in the world, credit card companies, and from Australia to South America, from all over the world are coming here to Israel all the time. And it's really amazing what's going on in Israel. And because that it's a really amazing perfect storm. We have great global innovators here in Israel, global financial institutions. We have the local ones. We have great deep talent pool, skill, hard workforce here in Israel with technological capabilities. We have great investors here in Israel. And this is a great swimming pool for fintech companies to swim here before they are going into the big ocean. But I don't think this is the big question. I think it's all about the technological and what kind of capabilities the Israeli can give to the world. Because, we can travel to London and you can travel to Denmark, for example, or to Sweden, or to Frankfurt. You can see amazing fintech companies. I think what it's really interesting here in Israel is the strength and the depth of the technological aspects. And we can also see second-timers. People already sold their companies and building new ones and coming back again and contributing to the community. We have a really vibrant fintech community here in Israel. But I think that, and we are seeing that all over the world, that companies like KPMG and some other ones, we are not the only one, that are taking fintech companies, the best one out of Israel, taking them globally, working with them as business and implementation partners, and working with them and with big financial institutions towards implementation. It's really amazing. I just got back from India, guys. I've met with like the 8 largest financial institutions in India. There was like a bank. They have more than 250 million customers. It's really amazing. And they have nothing in India. They truly have nothing in India in terms of fintech. There are like 200 fintech companies, only small payment stuff. And they are eager to work with you guys. They're really eager. And they just need to find the right fintech companies. All of the financial institutions are building their funneling processes, criteria, fintech scouters, digital people, and they're really eager to work with you. And I think the best one coming from Israel, and you spoke about eToro and Payoneer and all the others, and of course Authentics and Tradency, they're already working globally, and we are seeing I think this is an amazing area right now for Israel.
We never started in Israel, actually, until today. We started globally from beginning.
Yeah. That's one of the things I think Yoni mentioned, that Israelis have to go outside to succeed. They have to go outside to build a customer's database. So guys, we're going to go real quick to the direct questions. Okay, and then if we have time, we'll ask some more questions for the entire panel. Okay? So Yoni, one of the questions that I got here, that I heard from some people that heard that or read whether that we have a representative from Facebook. The first question that I get is, what does Facebook have to do with fintech? I mean, you're a social network company. What does it have to do with fintech? Please.
Okay, so first of all, of course, we're a social network, and but eventually we are a platform, right? So we are the base in which, on top, all of the activity is lying. And when we're talking about breaking the barriers that I mentioned before, right? If it's creating companies, right? Everybody today, you need one engineer. You need only one engineer and maybe one marketing guy in order to today go and open a startup, a fintech startup or any startup of its kind. And all of those platforms, such as Facebook, are enabling this because they're giving the basis for those companies to reach the clients eventually. And this is something imaginable just a few years ago, where if you had a business, you needed to have an actual physical location. Today, it's not the case, and you can get to those customers worldwide even without it. And this is how we can help those startups and those companies really to grow and scale internationally. And yeah.
Great. Thank you, Yoni. Dorel, you know, I read an interview with the CTO of Barclays, Michael Hart, and he said, and I quote, "We either take control of some of these enterprises or develop some of our own. If we won't succeed in embracing these technologies, we'll lag behind." So, do you agree? Can you say that a financial institution or a bank is irrelevant if it doesn't implement fintech technology?
So, first of all, I know Michael Hart is a great friend. He's the CIO of Barclays, and he came here to Israel, I think it was like 2 months ago. Before that, he came from Commonwealth Bank of Australia, which is an amazing bank from Australia. And Michael actually quoted his former CEO. The former CEO of Barclays said, "A death by 1,000 cuts." You know, they said, you know, stuff like Silicon Valley is coming and stuff like that. But I think that banks and financial institutions finally got it, finally understood that it's all about how do you cope with your customers' needs, with their financial life. How do you become a real-time, cool friend, trusted advisor with your company, with your customers? And it can be a small business, a corporate, or a private customers. How do you really engage with your customers? And you know, I mean, everybody's speaking about sharing economies, intermediaries are taking outside, you know, and stuff like that. And banks for the last 500 years are still in the middle between customers and their financial lives. And I think they will still be there if they will cope with their customers' needs. And if they will provide relevant data, relevant information, and real time with a really cool onboarding process, one time. And I think that banks are finally got it. And if they will change their whole infrastructure, and I just spoke about it yesterday, coming from, you know, spaghetti infrastructure to a lasagna infrastructure with layers and exposing APIs and be much more faster, flexible, nimble, agile, and to become this amazing one-stop shop plug and play, not plug and pray, and to embed those kind of fintech companies within the bank. Because in the end of the day, the banks are selling trust and brand. They want to be the trusted advisor. They want to be the one-stop shop. They want all the other fintech companies to become a white label or a co-brand. And we are seeing that all over the world. And it's changing. I mean, this is a big container ships, but they are changing. They are building small jet boats. They are building small sub-brand digital banks. Even an Israel bank, Leumi, is doing that. So yes, I think they finally got it, and we'll see a lot of that coming up.
Thank you, Dorel. Sharon, I'm going to use your experience in swiftness. And as Ron mentioned, the Israeli regulation and the Israeli regulatory framework is very difficult, at least some say. So what do you think? I mean, can fintech entrepreneurships evolve here with this tough regulation?
Yes, I believe that there is some change in the openness of the regulator. They have appointed an innovation officer to deal with fintech and all the relevant technology. So we're basically talking about many aspects of regulation. First of all, the technology one, like we all know the cloud draft and the limitation about maintaining data outside the borders of Israel, and this is something that might be changed, might be more flexible according to ECB guidelines. And this is only one aspect of the regulation. The other one deals with many legislation that enables to make the Israeli finance sector more open, less centralized, because this is a very highly centralized finance market dominated by, we all know about the power of the big players like the banks and the other insurance companies and so on. So many legislations are in order to decrease the centrality. This in fact helps fintech companies. For example, the data registry, the credit data registry law that enables to provide data about credit activity allows to have more competition in the credit card arena. The swiftness, the National Pension Clearinghouse, allows to give more data. And in fact, there are 2 startups that are already involving using this law, like Wabi, that we all know them, providing data about our pension funds and long-term saving data, and Fix, for example, and many others. So there are many aspects, many sides. The security, that there are some barriers, but I guess it's very understood that we need to tackle and to deal with security when we're dealing with fintech, and there's the circularity and all the openness of the market that legislation also look for, and this is for the benefit of fintechs. So there are many aspects, and there's some things that are good and going on, and I believe that it will evolve and allow more fintech to be active here in Israel and, of course, worldwide.
Thank you.
And I would like to add maybe to what she's saying.
Just speak up, please, because...
And I would like to add... and I would like to add also to what she's saying in terms of regulation. It's not... In terms of regulation, not specifically. I mean, at the base, right, regulation is always a good thing because it's there to protect the end user. And what we see, though, is that what is happening in fact is that innovation is leading, right, and regulation is following afterwards. And 2 very nice examples that we have is in other industries, but look at Airbnb, right, and which is fundamental a bit problematic. Or if we look at about Uber, right, so technology is there. And it is important, of course, also for the regulators to be there and to make sure that the end user is safe, because you don't have the protection that you had before. So just a side note.
But as Ron mentioned, our regulators are not that flexible, and it's going to take a lot more time.
I'm not the expert for...
Actually, I don't agree. I mean, we have like 3 new regulators here in Israel. Actually, 3 of them just spoke yesterday in a big fintech conference, and everybody is looking on the FCA, the regulator from the UK, how they're pushing the PSD2, the open API banking. And we are meeting with a lot of fintech regulators from all over the world, and everybody is really pushing. They understand that something needs to change if banks want to survive and to be relevant to the customers. They need to open themselves, and we are seeing that in Israel and all over the world. It will take the time. It will take the time, of course, because it's all about stabilizations. But it will happen eventually. It's inevitable.
I don't agree, because if you look at the regulators beside the FCA, okay, if you look at the BaFin, which is the regulator in Germany, so just to give you a perspective, I mean, like, there's lots of, like, Germany is an interesting market, like Israel. The regulator there is disaster, okay, they have super strict data privacy law. So let me describe you how you open an internet bank in Germany. It's the same stupidity like you do in Israel. You need to do a video conferencing. Stupid. Amazing stupid. In the UK, you don't need to do that. You have data.
But in Germany, you have open API. And in Germany, you have open API.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with open. It's same goes in Spain as well. So the regulators, okay. So everybody wants a job, and I want another job as another regulator. So it's all about the job issue here. It has nothing to do about the financial service. The only country that is leading the pack is the UK, and maybe a few other countries who are looking around. But if you're looking about, old school Europe, it's still the same. And you look at companies like Creditech, which is born in Hamburg, amazing company. They do zero business in Germany. Okay, and I can mention another 5 companies. They're very good at German companies, but they do nothing in Germany. Why? Because the regulatory environment is disaster. Same like it is in Israel. And only if they start like shifting their head, and a new generation will come. Not these guys who are like been in the banking industry for the last 50 years, that they used to work in one bank, then they come to the regulator, and then they go back to the bank. It's like a revolving door. Until the game of this revolving door will end, we will see these countries like taking their way back, and that's what's going to happen.
So I don't want to steal time from the regulations panel that is going to be afterwards. Let's move on to a different issue. Leo, your company went global, and you have a lot of experience in that. Like you said, a decade, right, of experience in going global and working abroad. What tips and what advices can you give to new entrepreneurs here that want to go global and seeking for the best way to do it?
Okay, first of all, I would like to better explain something. From my perspective, and one guy with MT4 and one marketing guy, it's not a fintech company. Okay, this is a service provider. This is something else. And also some companies that you say here, they are brokers. The service providers are not fintech. Fintech for me is a company that provides a technology.
Correct.
That has value to the end user and provide it to a service provider. This is a fintech. Okay? Let's not forget where we are staying. So from our point of view, we take a decision to focus on Japan. And I can tell you what works and what it didn't work. First of all, you need to pick a market that is not so fragmented. We tried to do it in Europe. We never succeeded because it was very fragmented. Different countries, different languages, something like that. The second one, you need a real local-based presence that actually know how to work internally with all the brokers, banks, service providers. Third, you need to be good. Very good. Means that, just to give you an example, I don't know how many fintech companies know how to handle hundreds of thousands of users and have one downtime a year of up to 5 minutes. Not a lot. So this is fintech. And if you're doing this, this, and this, and working with the regulator, you will succeed. You cannot take it apart. Regulation, really good technology, local presence, and be there. My wife thinks that I have a second family in Japan. I'm trying to convince her that it's not, but yes.
It's a good time to clear that thing, clarify that thing.
That's it. This is it.
My final question in the direct questions is to Ron. Ron, you employ a lot of developers, and people say that the Israeli developers stand out with comparison to developers around the world. First of all, do you agree? And if yes, in what way? I will just say one thing. I was last week at the Barclays demo. I saw the pitches there. There were some, if I'm not mistaken, 9 presenters. And almost everybody had somebody in their company from the 8200 unit. So the follow-up question is, what does the army have to do with all that?
I have no 8,200 people in my company, so we're maybe a bit unique. I agree that I'm also from my point of view, most of my employees are at the age of 40. So most of my R&D, we don't employ lots of younger generation. This gives a different stability to the company. Sorry?
100%.
Yeah. I mean, when you have a family, you have kids, you don't think about your next job. You just want to come. So what are you looking? You're looking for a good salary. You're looking to come with a song in your heart in the morning. And you're looking to enjoy your work. And if you give these 3 fundamentals, it will be very good. And I'm thinking, by the way, I think that not employing R&D guys above 40, it's a big mistake. Whoever's above 40, it doesn't have work, I will hire them. They're an amazing employees. I don't, the kids are good, but they move every 2-3 years. If you're looking building a company on the long run, and we've been doing it for the last 7-8 years, my churn of my employees is like plus 4 years, which is very good, which I can think very straight. So the Israeli R&D force is very good. They're devoted. You want them to do extra time, they'll do extra time. You want to send them tomorrow morning to San Francisco or whatever around the world, they'll do that. So there's lots of devotion, unlike if you see like in the UK or in Spain, 5 o'clock, dude, I'm going home, family time. So there's a bit of...
I can give you one example. Let's try, when you call to someone for interview, give him a computer without internet access and ask him to code an integral of equation. Let's see what will happen. If he will succeed, I'm hiring him. If not, not. This is the bar.
This is your...
But I want to say one thing. But I also see, and most of our customers are not Israeli based, and there are amazing companies around the world. I mean, like, if it's in the Nordics, if it's in Germany, if it's in the UK, if it's in the West Coast, if it's in Australia, if it's in Japan. So, I mean, like, the fact that, and here I'm, like, going a bit, disappoint you. There was yesterday, IBM decided that its cyber center will be in Australia, not in Israel, in Australia. It's not your typical place to build a global cyber center for IBM. So you need to ask a question with all this Prime Minister talking, cyber schmiber. Why did IBM went to Australia and not to Israel? So, I mean, like...
It's a good question, but we'll have to ask it another time.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, we're in a good position, but we should also be very careful because people are moving quicker.
Thank you, Ron. So as promised, we have time for one question, Erez? 1 or 2 questions from the audience. Please, Tom.
Hello, it's Tom Higgins here from Goldeye. So I don't know whether I'm representing Britain here. I don't know how many other Brits here. So, question I've got is, we're a fintech company in the UK. So has Brexit damaged our ability to work with Israeli brokers and other brokers around the world, do you think? Or does it not make any difference?
I don't think that it has affected you yet. I mean, like, again, 50% of my customers are UK-based. And the day after, we have a WhatsApp group, and you say, I'm leaving to Spain, I'm leaving to the Nordics. It's like, a guy standing on a 10th floor, and everybody says, don't jump, don't jump. And the guy says, who wants to jump? I just want to get off this roof. So, it's a power play. So, the Germans want your financial center in Frankfurt. The French want them to move to Paris. Yeah, right. So, I mean, like... It's just a negotiation. I don't think there'll be a lot of changes when it comes to data privacy, about processing data outside the UK, like, say, in Ireland or somewhere else in the world. It's yet to be seen, but nobody wants to touch it because the implementation from a money point of view is tremendous, because then you need to start dividing the UK market as a whole from a data point of view. I think we like the Norway model. It's like not an EU member, but benefiting, but it's all about money, because in the end of the game, if Merkel is looking at it, so if the Brits will leave, who will? It's the only person who will write the checks is Germany, because they can't count on the French, so they know they need the Brits. So in the end of the game, Merkel knows that, so it's all about money. So I don't see that a major effect.
Real quickly, Lior?
One sentence.
Yes.
I feel like a football commentator. The guys that try to comment on the game and really don't know what they're talking about. And this is the situation. In this stage, nobody really knows what's going to happen. And if someone thinks that you know what will happen, it's a fool. So we are not in this level to forecast what's going to happen. If yes, you can, trade on pound.
Okay, Erez, do we have time? Okay. So, thank you, everybody. It was a great panel. Anybody wants to say something that he didn't have the chance to? Something that he wants to add?
I just want to think, first of all, this is a great event, so thank you, Erez. I mean, it's really amazing to see so many trading, investing, and fintech companies here in Israel, and thank you for having this amazing event here in Israel. We at KPMG, we're more than happy to meet with you guys and to see how we can assist you locally and globally. And I'm very optimistic. I can't say anything about Brexit, how it will be happen. I don't think it will cause so much damage as everybody thinks. But I'm just saying, I mean, this is an amazing opportunity for the global fintech companies to really work with financial institutions. We are seeing a great openness for that, and I'm wishing you all the luck. Thank you.
Yoni?
Just also short, I think that the timing currently is crazy, and there's a lot of opportunities out there, whether how the market evolves or whether how technology evolves, and we are in fact in an inflection point. So I would be happy also to discuss with any of you after this panel, but a great event, and thank you for hosting.
Thank you very much. So unfortunately, our time is up. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the panel members.
Thank you very much, Michael, and thanks to the panelists.